So the Cowboys have dug themselves into a hole that they're probably not going to get out of this year. They'll go into the last week still with a slim chance of getting the 2 or 3 seed if the Buccaneers, Rams, and Cardinals lose or a combination therein. That's enough reason to play your starters for sure, but I've seen a lot of people debating whether or not there can be some elements of rest versus rust, where there can be some elements of a team getting that day off or some momentum going into last week. So I looked into how the Cowboys have fared in final weeks where they've been pretty much locked into their seeding. Now, before the 90s, no one ever rested their starters ever. Read an old book like this right here, you'll read about how they played all 6 preseason games, the starters. Yes, there used to be 6 preseason games. Football used to be pretty terrible. Anyways, since the 90s, the Cowboys have actually faced 9 scenarios like this. 7 times where they were completely locked into their seeding, and twice when they were pretty certain what their seed was going to be, but there was a slim chance they might be able to move up. The 2 times that they weren't totally locked in, they of course played that last game. They played it out all the way as much as they could to get that last seed. Both times they won those games. Now, when they have been locked in, the 7 times they've been locked in, it's split weird. Only once have they sat their players start to finish from the very beginning of the game. That was 1996. They lost that game big to the Redskins. Then they've played half the game, kind of a preseason style thing, either the first quarter, first few drives, past the first half. 4 times. They've gone 1-3 in those games that they've been locked into. And lastly, they've played start to finish all out like it's a regular game twice when it's been totally locked in. They went 1-1. So the question you obviously want to know, well, first of all, the 2 times that they weren't locked in, they played, they won, but it didn't matter. The things that they needed to happen didn't happen for them to move up. The first time was actually in 1992, where they would then spin off 3 straight wins and win the Super Bowl. So hey, there's your first little note that maybe that momentum pushes you over the top. But let's throw that out because that was 1992. This is not 1992. Since then, when the Cowboys have won their last game of the year, when they're pretty much locked into their spot, they have gone 2-3 in the playoffs. The 5 times they have lost that last game, they've gone 2-5 in the playoffs. Obviously, they haven't got past the divisional round at any point. And the fact that the sample size of not playing or resting your starters to some degree when you're locked in is a lot larger than when they have played start to finish, or the fact that they've had so few playoff appearances, essentially. So, what does this prove? Absolutely nothing. These stats don't help us at all. All we do know is the Cowboys have around a 12% chance of punching their ticket to the 2nd or 3rd seed if some things fall their way. They got to play hard on Saturday night. They got to go try to get that win. And even though the momentum hasn't shown through, the wins in 2014, 2018, the win in 1998, they all led to playoff losses eventually. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this time it is 1992.